Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the OK Grognard Show. It is Friday, November 20th, 2020, 10 a.m. Central in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. That's a lot of 20s. That's like a triple crit. Well, it's Friday, and that means it's Building Adventures Day. And last week, we messed around with a map by Dyson Logos that he had just put out. Kind of a walled town, small city type map. And we discussed, where to put things within that town, what should go where, and which way the river should flow, and who's in charge of what sections, and where certain people would live, and traffic flow as far as the streets were concerned, and what's off the beaten track and what's on it. And I thought this week we could play around with some ideas from that excellent system free source book for medieval fantasy RPGs known as 30 Things Can Happen. Yeah, I'm not modest. I'm not modest. 30 sided die. Very exciting. Oh, it's green. It's green, so it's green screened. Ha! Ooh. I rolled a number between 1 and 30. Well, between 1 and 30 inclusive. All right. Anywho, here was the map. Had a bridge crossing the river there. There's a mill up there. This is a keep. The roads kind of go this way and this way, but they also go this way and this way. So this is off the beaten path. This little bit's off the beaten path. This back here is off the beaten path. Up top. Yeah, you know what? You can't see my cursor. You know what I should do? I should pop this up over here and say all that real quick again. Looking at it this way. Now you can see a cursor, right? Hard to see when it's on the map, but up top, off the beaten path, right? Off to the right, behind the keep, off the beaten path. This little bit in the center, up, off the beaten path. So the roads come from down and right, across the bridge, and then forks south and forks north. So you have to decide, where you place this in your setting. Controlling the bridge. Controlling bridges, right, is a big old deal. Controlling bridges is a big old deal. So that's a thing. And it's probably the reason the town sprang up in the first place. It's also true that collecting tolls on that bridge would set someone up pretty well if there aren't any fords or other ways really to easily cross the bridge north or south. I mean, even if there was another bridge somewhere in the area, if it's not protected, it could be in danger of any travelers using it, making themselves targets for creatures from the water, creatures from the woods in the area surrounding the bridge, because it's a natural choke point, right? So you have to worry about that. But this one being protected means this is the safe place to cross. It also becomes a place to bring your goods because there are people here to buy stuff. There are warehouses. There are markets, places to sell stuff. People to sell stuff to, as if you're just acting as a distributor. Anyhow, that's that. But what about this? Oh, 30 things can happen. You are so cool. You know what? I'm going to pop back over here. I'm going to say, there's the map again. You know what I should do? What if we did this I'm going to see if I can make some adjustments to how this shows up. Full screen is there. Full screen options. Somewhere I'm saying that it should be centered. What I'd like to say, fit the screen, no. Viewing, how's that? No. And that. You know what I like best about streaming is that you get to see all of the useless stuff that you'd rather not tune in for. You know what? Screw that. We're not going to do it. We're just going to say, boom, bring up old 30 things, take a look at it. There we are. So, if you're not familiar with 30 things, did some special thanks there. Talking about the artwork, a lot of Howard Pyle stuff in here, stuff that's in the public domain now. He was kind of a early influence or early member of the Brandywine School, a kind of art enclave out east, northeast in the U.S. You'll recognize his style probably from a lot of pretty cool books. Who's this guy falling and losing all his money? Poor bastard. All right, so it's broken up like this. Everything's divided by 30, right? So I've got 10 each, different locations in the city, in the country, in the underground, in the city, at the gate, on the street, alleys and slums, tavern, market, arena, or lists. Lists like jousting lists, right? We'll pop back over here. Can we see it over here? There we go. Castle or keep, shops, cathedral or temple during a chase in the city. All right? So let's look at this. We've got at the gate. Well, that's easy enough. It's the next one. Each of these sections is divided up into 30. And note 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30. Note you can use a 30-sided die with this. And when I put this out, it was on the 30th anniversary of the first D30 supplement that was put out by the Armory way back in the day. And this came out in... Where's the year? I don't have the year here. Oh, I know what the year will be. The year will be... Oop, that's beautiful. Oh, no. I want to say 2006. Right? 86, 96. Yeah, I think so. Anyhow, we've got all these here. And we can just roll a random one and try to apply it to our little city. 11. A dog is hanging around looking expectant. Well, that can happen anywhere in the city, right? How does that lead to some sort of adventure? Well, you get to decide that. This just gives you a little bit of a springboard, something to work with. Introduces dogs into your setting if they weren't there before. That's very exciting. If you didn't have dogs in your setting in a medieval fantasy setting, and you know, most of this is medieval fantasy, but quite honestly, a lot of this can be used in a lot of different ways. And you could use this in other settings too. You just have to file the medieval fantasy serial numbers off of some of the, maybe most. It's geared toward medieval fantasy, so. What's this dog want? Well, it probably wants food, right? It's begging for some food or hoping you, a passerby, or someone who's seated somewhere waiting for something, or whatever it is your PC is doing, a dog has just kind of wandered up toward you and is looking at you with those big puppy dog eyes, looking for a little scritch behind the ears, trying to get some food. All right, 16. A person with a baby is asking for help. Well, that goes without saying that you're going to help, right? Somebody with a baby. Depends what they're asking for help, right? You have to decide. As a DM, you have to decide how this is going to go. Now, sometimes, and this happens way more than you think it would, the player will immediately suggest something as being something they don't want to happen. Now, you can either have it be that. Well, I hope she isn't claiming I'm the father. Okay. Thank you very much. As a matter of fact, she is claiming your cleric is the father. Oh no, what happened there? So, you don't have to say it's any one of them in particular, or you could just roll a six-sided. There's 5 of them, ignore the 6s or roll again. Or claim it's someone else. Just make sure you have fun with it. But it's nice when they throw out a sort of open-ended direction for it to go, and it's fun to just take it and run. I mentioned yesterday one of the great improv sayings that I've heard back in the day was, let's go somewhere, anywhere together. We don't have to know where we're going, but if we're going there together, we can have some fun with it, right? So let some of their greatest fears become part of that directionality. Let some of what they say. I wouldn't go 100% with it, because then it sounds like they don't need you anymore. And you never want the players to realize they don't need you. So there's a couple of adventure starts. Another thing you could do with something like that is say she wants your help because her husband was a torchbearer and went off hired into the local dungeon with a handful of adventurers, and he was supposed to return the night before and hasn't come back yet. They said they were only gone for a few hours, and he never came back. She will tell you everything she knows about what he said, because he'd been with them before into this crypt that's nearby. Give them some information about where it is, what he might have said was down there the first time they looked. Maybe even say, he said he showed me a map. It looked like, have her sketch out a couple of the first rooms and put it, if you can find them, maybe there'll be some treasure there. I can't pay you. I don't have money. Our family will be forever in your debt. Perhaps you look a lot more hardy than the adventurers he went with. They were a rather ramshackle bunch. They barely had anything their weapons were rusty. Their armor was ragged. It's not any wonder they didn't come back. But they had a few coppers or a few silvers, and they paid him to be their torchbearer because they wanted to keep their weapon hands free. And off they went, and they never came back. So, you take something like this and you build it into a quick adventure. Let's move forward several. Well, in the city at a tavern. 7. A stain on the floor nearby is clearly blood from a recent altercation. Now, hopefully at this point you've already established the fact that they're in a tavern, because it helps if you go to a table that says in a tavern that they're already in a tavern. And hopefully you've already established how busy the place is. Is it upscale? Is it a dive? What is it? As a tavern goes, and if this is the case that it's a highfalutin upscale place, what's going on? Why is there a blood stain here? You would think a place like this is a little more classy, and you wouldn't have recent blood stains on the floor. At the very least, if blood was spilled, you would have thought that it had gotten cleaned up. So, what do? Well, you're discussing it with your comrades. Maybe a employee comes walking by, and when that employee pops over and sees you noticing something, they too spot the blood. How do they react? Well, I don't know. You can roll a die like Cosmo Joe's D12 with all the faces on it. Kind of a mood die, right? Hearts for eyes and a smile. That sounds like love. Well, it's always fun to try to take the most inappropriate moment. Now, this doesn't have to be real love necessarily, but let's say this employee suddenly becomes amorous with the person who has been, what's going on with this blood? Is this a distraction, perhaps? Well, they're trying to get wave some other individual over to come deal with the blood or deal with his friends or her friends, whoever. So suddenly this staff employee is acting all lovey-dovey. Do you pick up on it right away? Roll a wisdom check. Do you notice that this seems to be a ruse? That they're signaling to someone else to come over there, and now there's two burly guys that were standing over by the bar coming this way? What's going to happen next, right? Well, a lot of it depends on what the player characters do. What they say could feed into how you want to play it out, how you want to run it. Let's roll a 30-sider again in the tavern. 11. The tavern owner is taking 2 pitchers around, one of wine and one of ale, refilling patrons' drinks, and proclaiming it is his wedding anniversary. His much younger barmaid wife looks less than happy. Well, there you go. There's a little something. Wedding anniversary. He's older, she's younger, much younger. So it can't be a 30th anniversary in all likelihood, or the age difference might not seem as significant. So maybe they're elves. Maybe she's 200 and he's 600. Maybe it's a huge difference. Maybe they're just humans. Maybe he's 60 and she's 30. And now you've got yourself a pretty significant difference in most societies. Is it one in this society, though? Well, this is something you're going to have to make the call on at this point, right? As a DM, you've got to make some quick decisions, and you don't have to decide on your own. Sometimes that's what D6s are for. 1, 2, 3, the age difference like this is unusual. Yep, it's unusual. There's our decision. So now you explain it, you contextualize it for the players. He's standing right in front of you. He's filling up your wine and filling up your ale. Do you accept? Everybody's full now. He steps back. He raises a glass to his lovely wife. What if he then gets her name wrong? What if he says something derogatory? He's happy about his anniversary, but he's obviously abusive. Do the players decide to step in this case? Is this something that society frowns upon? Is this something that even if society doesn't, this society, not our real world society, keep that in mind. If this is something that calls them into action, maybe they take some action. Maybe they have a little discussion with her, find out if she's actually, a willing partner in this marriage. Was she forced into it? Was there financial circumstance between him and her father? You don't have to give me a dowry. In fact, I'll give you one. What up with that? Could be all sorts of different ways that could play out. Sociology. Doesn't have to be part of your game. Don't go there if you don't like it. 30. Let's get back to the tavern one more time. 23. Someone is clandestinely refilling his wine glass from a wineskin he's keeping under the table. What does that tell you? Could be any number of things. One, maybe this guy's cheap and he doesn't like spending money in the bar, so he's just using some lesser wine he brought with him to save himself a little money. But why is he sitting at a bar then? Why do that in the bar? Well, he needs to be there for one reason or another. Maybe he's meeting somebody. Maybe he's keeping an eye on somebody for somebody else or for himself. Maybe he's followed somebody, but he's a little low on funds. Maybe the wine in this place just sucks. Maybe he throws around money while he's in here, but he brings his own wine because that's the wine he likes. Maybe he doesn't trust the people that serve the wine in here. Maybe he's afraid that if he drinks what's served him, he'll be poisoned, or in some way the wine is so nasty that he'll become sick. Maybe he's become ill before. Maybe he needs to be here because there are other people here that have dragged him along and he's with them now, but he's secretly refilling his glass because he doesn't want to insult them by not drinking the wine that they bought, which is inferior to anything he would ever drink because he's a snob. So we got that. Maybe he's afraid of poisoning. Oh, yeah, there you go. Okay, same page, huh? Maybe the tavern waters down the drinks. Yeah, he just doesn't like that crappy watered down stuff. Or tax on extra copper piece per drink, right? Every time they keep seeing people get a little more drunk, they start taking a little more off of the out of their pockets. Well, let's see. Let's do 4 more pages forward. Well, in the city among the shops. And I put little headers at the top of each of these different groups of 10 just to amuse myself and to try to get some sort of a theme working in my mind as I was coming up with them. So the first 10 I called A, well, in the city among the shops. A, odd and dangerous results. B, sweet deals results. And C, suspicious results. So each one has its own little thing. So charge more. They make more money on the drinks than on the food. Most places do, right? A little more, unless they're selling popcorn, like theaters do, right? And that's where they make all their money. Popcorn's about as cheap as anything, even cheaper than the sodas. I rolled a 20, so we're in the sweet deals territory. 20. The Teamsters stables are hoping to get rid of an old coach now that they have 2 new carriages. Sweet deals. So are they offering up a coach? Are you in the market for a coach? Is it possible that the top could be stripped off and could it be used as just a simple wagon? Are there different ways? Why are they offering it to you anyway? Have they seen you going back and forth to the local crypts and you've been heavily laden when you come back? Do they feel you could use a coach for some reason? Are there enough of you? Do you have horses already? Do you have anything that would indicate? Or is this just him standing on a corner, some guy involved with the Teamsters there, barking out that he has the thing and he's letting it go for almost nothing? They just want to get rid of it, and they could drag it out of town and burn it, but maybe someone wants it, right? And maybe while you're there, 2 people step up and both try to claim it nearly simultaneously, almost as if they meant to talk in unison. Both of them raise their hand and step forward. I'll take it. No, wait. I said I. No. And then they appeal to you because you just happen to be standing there. They say, hey, which one of us claimed this first? You heard us. You were listening. Teamsters are getting rid of a coach used in a crime. There you go. Because the Teamster are also the Thieves Guild. Okay, yeah, I like that. There you go. Yeah, that's a good one to end on right there. You know what? Top notch. And if you pick it up, if you buy it for next to nothing, because 5 coppers for a coach? Yeah, okay. We'll have to get a horse. No, wheel it away now. No, it's yours. It's yours. Just, get in the front there and both grab those and just drag it off. We don't want it here. And it's covered in blood. It's had a tarp over it, and you get it back toward your tavern and stuff, and hey, I should just check out the insides here, I suppose. And there's a tarp in there, and you flip it over, and there's blood and guts all over the place. Do you drag it back through the town now? Now that it's a mobile crime scene of which you own? Does anybody believe you if you claim you just picked it up? No, you're screwed, mister. You've just got yourself a mobile crime scene. You will be the person to blame when it hits the fan. All right, so we're going to pop this off here. We're going to say, hey, thank you very much. Great little suggestions there. That's perfect. That's just the way you got to do it on the fly, right? When you're improvising a start to an adventure, you gotta get the ball rolling somehow. Thank you very much. Well, I'll tell you what. We are gonna say thank you very much for checking this out today. Always fun to riff on some adventure building ideas. The starts to adventures are sometimes the toughest thing because how do you get people involved? And I think we went over a few with this 30 things can happen using a city setting. We'll do this again with some of the other ideas. Although 30 things can happen isn't often needed once you've got an adventure rolling. But if when there are lulls, sometimes throwing a little wrench in the works can help out a lot. So I want to thank everybody. I also want to say come on back 10 a.m. tomorrow and every day. Tomorrow we got GM reviews, rules retrospective on Sunday, weekly news and announcements on Monday. We've got cartography and world building on Tuesday, campaign discussion on Wednesday, GMing tips on Thursday, and back around the horn to adventure building next Friday. If you're catching up with this on YouTube, thank you very much. Please subscribe to the channel. Do yourself a favor and give us a thumbs up for any videos you'd like and watch, and comment if you have some constructive criticism or just want to say something pithy. It's always fun. This has been the OK Grognard Show from beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Bye-bye.